speaking of fascism in Indiana, let's move to our top stories in the state this week, where Kristi Noem has dubbed the new ICE housing at the Miami Correctional Facility outside of Peru, Indiana, dubbing it the Speedway Slammer. So this facility is due to hold up to 1,000 detainees after Mike Braun struck a deal with the Trump administration. This from The Guardian. Quote, ICE will be housing detainees at the Miami Correctional Center, a prison run by the Indiana Department of Corrections. The move is part of the U.S. government's rapid expansion of immigration jails after Donald Trump's sweeping spending bill allotted roughly $170 billion to ICE, an extraordinary sum, making the agency the most heavily funded law enforcement department within the federal government. And I want to say that might be a combined sum greater than all of the other law enforcement departments in the federal government. So, first of all, um, the Speedway Slammer. I want to start, Scott. I came to you last the first pass here, so I'm going to start with you first this time. Just what do you think of this idea of us giving concentration camps cute names?
Well, I think when you're trying to get away with something, giving it a cute name is a nice branding touch, right? It justifies selling merch. It makes people feel, if you're on that side of the fence, makes people feel like, oh, they're doing the right thing. But e- talk about appalling. I mean, even Hitler didn't try and brand Auschwitz, right? I mean, what the hell?
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and they say it's for immigration, but it's not going to be just for immigration. It's going to be for anyone who's against the administration.
well,
Um,
yeah, we already know from Florida that their quote unquote alligator Alcatraz concentration camp down there, that a great number of the people in that facility have no criminal record whatsoever.
yep.
And the ones that do are often a very minor violation, like a traffic stop or parking
Yeah.
ticket or something
Eh, eh,
stupid. These are not full of violent criminals.
No, and let's not forget that an immigration violation is still legally a civil matter. And I
Yes.
don't I don't recall where civil matters ever justified prison sentences anytime in the past.
Yeah, and we're going to come back to this in here shortly when we talk about Micah Beckwith and his comments regarding due process for immigrants. But we were talking about this a little bit before we went live, and the way they use these cute nicknames for these facilities, and it very much reminds me of like the 1920s when lynching was common in this country, and
Yep.
the white folks would pack up a picnic and go sit on the hill and watch the rest of the townspeople string a guy up,
Yep.
and they would send postcards and make it a day out on the town, commemorate it. It was gross, and frankly, I don't know, Brianna, you tell me, is buying yourself a alligator Alcatraz T-shirt the same as getting a lynching postcard?
I think it is. I think that, the conditions that they have down there in the Florida swamp, this is just a tent. This has no insulation, no real protection from the outside elements. I mean, it floods in there. And I know it's not on our list, but that ex-employee just came out saying how horrible the conditions are, even for the corrections officers. And
Mm.
it's just, to me, it's sick, and it's glorifying the inhumane treatment of humans, and we're all humans, and we're treating these humans worse than we treat animals, and that's not okay. So why are we glorifying it? Why are we making merch out of it? It's just not right.
Yeah, yeah. It really it cheapens the whole thing. It turns it into a gross spectacle, and we're talking about people's lives here. Um, So this whole Speedway Slammer branding drew condemnation from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, of all places. So this is from the Indy Star. So Penske Entertainment, which owns the Speedway, says, quote, "We were unaware of plans to incorporate our imagery as part of the announcement. Consistent with our approach to public policy and political issues, we are communicating our preference that our intellectual property not be utilized moving forward in relation to this matter." End quote. So um, the company fell short of publicly demanding any sort of retraction or issuing a formal cease and desist order to prevent the future use of their imagery or the use of the Speedway term. We should note that in October of 2019, just over a week before it was announced that Penske would purchase the Motor Speedway and the IndyCar Series, that Roger Penske received the Medal of Freedom from President Trump in his first term. These guys sounds like are kind of buddy buddy. Ross, boy, that's got to put Penske in a tough situation, huh?
Well, yeah, they created graphics with an Indy car, an ice Indy car with the number five, which for people who follow racing currently, the number five is Pato Award, who is the only Mexican driver on the circuit. Maybe that was maybe they had no idea, but certainly the imagery is I think, look, we've gotten to the point where a lot of corporate America, and particularly if you're in the entertainment industry, if you take a side like that and are soft on fascism, that's going to be bad for your bottom line. Even in Indiana, that's going to be bad for your bottom line. So it will be interesting to see. Of course, we've seen, um, you know, uh, at one point, certainly, I think you could say that Jeff Bezos and others have been willing to take the hit in order to curry favor. But certainly, the other thing that I wanted to add about Miami Correctional Facility, I've been a lawyer for 30 years, criminal defense lawyer, so I've been to that facility many, many, many times. It is they are not building a facility there. That it has had empty beds since they built it. It's kind of an indictment of the prison industrial complex that we built this giant prison on the Grissom Air Force Base property, and then didn't have enough funding to fully fill it. So it's had empty beds since it was built, essentially. And I would also add, it is one of the worst. So, so, so it's not going to be a tent city, but it is one of the worst facilities in the state in terms of violence, in terms of health. And you would think a relatively new facility would be better than that, but we're putting these folks in one of our worst facilities, and I can't imagine that adding people to it is going to be better. But yeah, the whole thing just kind of shows you that Indiana is seen as a lapdog for the Trump administration, and with our governor, with our legislature, um, with all of these issues, you can look to Indiana and say, well, you know, they're going to do whatever we tell us, so we can just go there, as a default.
Ain't that the truth? And we're going to come back to that again and again in this episode about Indiana being a laboratory of autocracy and dominated by Trump sycophants in the executive and legislative branches. So, yeah, the Trump administration says they're standing by this branding, saying, "quote An AI generated image of a car with mice on the side doesn't violate anyone's intellectual property rights. Any suggestion to the contrary is absurd." And it says DHS will continue promoting the Speedway Slammer as a comprehensive and collaborative approach to combating illegal immigration. So, my question for all of you before we move on from this story, um, we've all decided Speedway Slammer is both insulting and a stupid name. I've heard the Alligator Alcatraz facility more accurately, perhaps referred to as Alligator Auschwitz. What more representative name would you give the Speedway Slammer? Brianne, I hate to put you on the spot and make you go first, but what
Oh
do you
my
got?
goodness. I have not, I mean, I think that just calling it what it is would be good, which is a concentration camp. And I think that we should just call a spade a spade.
The Cornfield Concentration Camp.
Yeah, there you go. I think that'd be a more accurate description.
Yeah, maybe you could even spell it with K's instead of C's.
Oh, that's a great
Oh,
idea. That's perfect.
Scott, you got one?
given our history in the state with the KKK, Red Fire in the Heartland, Cornfield concentration camp with 3 Ks. Perfect. It's true to Indiana's heritage.
Ross?
I think that's it. I think that's it. Absolutely, that's a home run. Congratulations. That is it.
Yeah, I was going to go with Tippecanoe Treblinka.
You know, I would say poll the audience. Let them cast their vote.
Here we are. We're gonna come. Yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? We're going to begin a poll here after the show and see if we can find something out. Yeah, it sucks, but we gotta, I guess, laugh at the horror that is taking place right under our nose. So,